Um, oh God, there's gonna be a lot of cutting in this one. I'm just telling you right now. Like you guys are missing a lot of shit that I was saying, and you're not gonna know what I said. What's up, everybody? My name is Chris Corbin. I am the host of Dripping Creativity Podcast and the creator of the Creative Coffee Cafe, which now that I look at everything is a lot of C's. Like everything is a C. It's very weird. Um, Anyways, I had mentioned at the start of the month that because it is Mental Health Awareness Month, I wanted to discuss kind of my story about it all and really go into it. I've been having a hell of a time doing it. It's been very difficult for me to collect my thoughts enough to say what I wanted to tell everyone. I mean, you know, I have a very detailed history in my life. It is fraught with a lot of shit and a lot of good things, but overall, there's always been a lingering thing of depression. It runs in my family, on my dad's side, very strong. Um, I didn't learn until I was 33, 32, 33, that the depression itself was coming from ADHD. Until that point in my life, I was just told I was just clinically depressed all the time, and nothing ever helped. No pills, nothing. Drugs, you name it, I tried it. It did not help at all. I was told my entire life that I had potential. That was my thing. I was a very intelligent kid, very good with absolutely everything, and get into junior high, very charismatic, with a lot of potential for anything I wanted to do, and in high school, so much potential if I would just apply myself to everything, which I didn't at all, very much so. I should have been a very well off school kid, and I wasn't. I skipped a lot. I did a lot of bad things in high school. Choosing the path of immediate gratification over anything else, just because it was there. As I found out, it's all basically because of ADHD. So, anyways, yeah, mental health has always been a thing, from cutting myself to suicidal thoughts to suicidal plans. Very much riding that edge several times over the years. It's difficult to explain to people that don't have the deep depression what it feels like. The fog of war that you get over your entire existence during depressive bouts is indescribable. You're very much, everything is not real, even when it is real, and that's difficult to escape from. It's worse than quicksand. You're at the bottom of the sand to begin with, trying to crawl out, and it's damn near impossible. I mean, even now, even after getting diagnosed with ADHD, figuring out what was actually causing the depression, I have my moments. I have my doubts. I have my depressive bouts of just shit. They generally don't last as long now, and I have very specific ways to pull myself out of it, but it's debilitating several times. And if you know, and it's, I think the biggest problem over all of this, none of us feel worthy enough to share, is really what it boils down to. It's, we always know somebody that goes through it worse or has it worse off, and to our brains that just shows us that ours isn't actually as bad. We're basically gaslighting ourselves into believing our mental health isn't as bad as it actually is, because so many people have it worse. It's, and you can't compare the two. It's not a balancing thing. It's not an equal or. It's, everybody is different and everybody struggles completely differently, and we have to be able to look past that and be honest with ourselves more than being honest with other people. You know, I mean, how many times have you told a friend exactly what they needed to do and try and helped them get through things with advice that you know would work, but you refuse to take yourself? You know, like that in itself is, it's a hindrance to yourself. You end up hurting yourself more because you refuse to believe yourself worthy enough to do the things you know you need to do. And that alone is why it's important to talk about mental health. It's a dangerous thing to be stuck in because you know what's happening and everyone else knows what's happening. But until you can fully admit it to yourself and to everyone else, it's not something that you can learn how to figure out your way through, you know, because everyone's is different. Some people require pills to help get through these things. Other people can do it without. Neither are right or wrong. They're just what helps you, and you can't find what that is if you're not willing to open yourself up and to share that with people. I mean, even going back to my ADHD, it's had I not taken that time, because when I went to the therapist was literally because I was planning on ending it, to the point where I had spent an entire week planning out what I needed to get done every day just to make sure everything was in order for this day. And that moment of knowing that day was coming filled me with relief. And it was that point. It wasn't the fact that I wanted to do it that bothered me. It was the fact that I was relieved to want to do it. So I knew I had to at least try, specifically for my kids more than anything. I had to talk to somebody, and finally was able to find a therapist, come up with the $250 to pay for it. That's an entirely different topic. And talked with her, and she had done something that no other doctor or therapist had done before, and actually listened. And not just of what I was feeling in the moment, but actually going back through my life and looking at all the little events. She knew the right questions to ask to figure out the key important things. And then she looked at me and she goes, "No, you are not depressed. You have ADHD. The symptoms of suicidal depression is part of it, because that's just what's happening with the chemicals in your brain. So try this. If this doesn't help, then we can discuss something else." And I got on the medication. And within the first day of taking Concerta for the first time, I legitimately started crying, because it was the most peaceful moment I had in my life up until that point. And I could find a million ways to describe what my ADHD is like. In general, off the medication, it's like 1,000 voices talking all at the same time. 100 of those voices are people you know, and 50 of those ones are people who hate you. And those ones are the loudest. And that's just constantly at all times going in my head. And the medication it's not a cure-all. It doesn't fix everything. What it does is it lowers the voices to the point where I'm not hearing the 1,000 anymore. They've faded off into the background. The 100 I still hear, but I've put my headphones on. And the 50 that are talking shit, for once in my life, I don't care what they say. And that is what's most freeing to me, is the negative voices that I constantly hear at all times. I don't care that they're telling me how terrible I am, or how horrible of a person, or how bad of a creative I am. I'm not paying attention to that. It's still there. It's not going anywhere, and it never will. It's a part of who I am. I fully accept that. I'm totally good with that. With enough, the medication numbs it for me and allows me to focus on the good voices, the creative voices, the stuff that really matters, because those 50 voices had always spent my entire life holding me back from even trying things, whereas now the other voices are pushing me forward to want to create things, like the cafe, like the podcast, like everything you see is because I was finally able to understand what was happening with my own brain, find the solutions to help me push past it and learn to deal with it and move forward with my life. And that is the most freeing thing in the world. I mean, I do not have the perfect life. I don't have a ton of money. I have a million problems that are bearing down on me at every moment. And I know that it will be okay, because I won't give up on what I'm doing. And I will find a way through, no matter what. That is what's important to me, is not giving up on myself, even though every part of me does. Yeah, that's what mental health is to me. It's being healthy enough in my own mind to understand the demon and the negativity and the hatefulness that resides in me, and using it to create something with it, to share it with people. And in the end, that's all we can do, is the best we can, and just never give up, never stop failing, because the minute you do, you failed. I'm quoting D&D the movie, but it's a good line. I don't know how much of this I'll use. I don't know if any of this will be salvageable at all, but you know what? It's the 21st, and I need to get this out because I said I would. So, yeah. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. Maybe do a Q&A. I don't know. I try to be as open as possible. So, got a question, just ask. And stay creative, stay inspired, and till next time, see ya.